Today I'm going to look back at the recent Destiny video and let you into the kitchen to show you how it was cooked. And I'm going to respond to some confronting comments that challenge my opinions in the video, and rightfully so. When you make video essays, it's generally a good idea to use one shot for one sentence to match the rhythm of your speaking. So here, when I wanted to cut between different shots mid-sentence, I used this effect to maintain some continuity. It took a super long time to do the Secret of Mana one, because I needed the player and the character to be in exactly the right spot on the screen, and the enemy AI is random, and yeah. It's good eye candy, if nothing else, and I needed something visually interesting at the start of the video because it was looking a bit bland. Here with this match cut, I'm comparing Tess Everest, who runs a Destiny store, to an evil giant worm, which is also what the K-Bob did on Reddit. They said, except it's missing the monetary motivation and hooks behind all this manipulation. All of this hopefully isn't controversial to point out. It's the monetization side of it that is the worst part of it, because it's not whales in the form of Saudi princes who get sucked in, but regular people who get sucked into paying all of their disposable income, and sometimes more, into these games, or miners. These companies are hiring economists, behavioral scientists, and other sociological experts to perfect these arts in this game. There is a legitimate science in the manipulation to form addictive patterns. The only thing I have to say about this comment is that it's completely and totally correct and true. The same tricks the game uses to enhance my enjoyment are also used to squeeze time and money out of people who can't afford either of those. Just because the loot is good for me doesn't mean it's a good idea generally, if it victimizes even a small amount of the player base. And by playing Destiny, I'm kind of complicit, and I'm kind of supporting that victimization. Yeah, I personally don't buy cosmetics, and I've spent less than $100 on Destiny, but that's not true of everyone. I tend to focus too much on my own personal experience when I'm making videos. And what I probably should be doing more is more external research and depersonalizing the video. At least I could do more like I did in the Baldur's Gate video, a world not built for you, to analyze the experience of other players, other Let's Players. This shot was a bugger to get looking halfway decent in Kdenlive, my awesome but not pro editing software. I'm still not happy with the result, but artistically it's a decent enough visual metaphor. It shows how the player, me, was pulled out of their intended path by the lure of loot. What makes video essays stand out is the use of the video track. It's not just wallpaper to the audio track like in game commentary videos, and it's not just relevant examples of gameplay, although it is that, but it's not just relevant examples of gameplay like in reviews or something. The video track makes or reinforces the points that you're making. So I try to use visual metaphors, although it's hard to walk the line between too cheesy or too subtle. I think a lot of viewers miss stuff like this, but even me when I watch other people's videos, but it's fun to think about. Anyway. This TF2 Rage story is 100% true. I did Rage uninstall the game a long time ago. But funnily, the milk car example that I used at the beginning of the video is a complete fabrication. Sorry. It was an idea I stole from this old Australian TV car ad, in which a couple wants to drive their new car. So the guy tips all the milk from the fridge down the sink, and then he says, "We're out of milk," and he jumps in the car and drives with a huge smile on his face. I wanted to use that TV ad in the opening of the video, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I lied and said it was my personal story. Sorry. Match cuts here, including this wall to screen, are just for smoothness and don't really serve an artistic purpose. I think match cuts, if that's what they're called, I don't even know really. I think match cuts like this are like segues in podcasts. The podcasters care about them a lot for smoothness, but the audience doesn't even really notice or care. But it's fun to make. This bounty segment is a good place to bring up Adoria Ravina's comment, which was posted on both YouTube and Reddit, where it was the most upvoted comment. They said, "Really good video, though I'm surprised that with a title like that, he barely touched on the negative ways Destiny is currently playing the player base, i.e. quests in which you just actively work against your fire team and the goal of the mode in order to progress," and a number of other things. Sorry about the title, it was a bit clickbaity, but good titles are really hard to come by. It's a good call, Ravina is completely correct in that bounties have been incentivizing players to screw over their teammates lately. I did kind of mention this problem in the end of the video, but I didn't focus on it because, again, in my personal experience, it hasn't really been an issue. If I find myself being a prick to teammates, I kind of stop. I usually play with friends anyway, so I'm not going to be a prick to them. Secondly, these changes are kind of recent. Bounties have been around for a long time, but the XP that they give you hasn't really been that important until the season passes came in. So this kind of idea hasn't reflected the general experience with the game over the last year that I've been playing it. Third, Bungie tried to increase fun by motivating you to switch weapons with these bounties, but they took it too far, caused these problems, and accidentally decreased fun. I don't think it's working as Bungie intended. I think Bungie failed. This is a style choice on my part, but I focus my videos on successes, not failures. I don't want to be the kind of critic who sits back and lazily whines about somebody else's cooking. Skipping ahead, we get to my favorite sequence, my favorite visual metaphor in the video. There's this film theory about how moving left to right is natural, it's good, and it represents progress from moving from left to right. In games, this has traditionally been true, but with first person, it's different. Moving forward into the frame is the new natural good progress shot. So here I'm talking about how Destiny will give you stuff to chase forever. Cue the spaceship moving into the distance, gaining ground, progress, blah blah. Cue the transition, and as I start to talk about the dark side of loot, you're still moving forward into the distance, but you slowly come to realize that this is not good natural forward progress, this is actually a descent. And then it's still in the same shot, you got players feeling trapped, and big bad Bungie appearing out of the ether. So I was pretty happy with how it came together. It would have been perfect if the match cut had lined up perfectly, but sadly it's impossible to control the Destiny camera to achieve that. The sequence finishes with another one of these cuts. The trick to these is to draw the viewer's eye to the part of the shot which is the most similar, which doesn't change, and then you change the rest of the frame around that with a 6-frame overlap dissolve, so a tenth of a second. These kinds of transitions are easier in video games because, unlike real life, characters move exactly the same way every time when they do the same thing in different places. I end the video with a cutscene. It wasn't just a cut and paste of the whole sequence. I had to move the shots around to get it to work. Here I talk about when to quit Destiny in the original video, which Boats and Joes wrote about in the comments. Boats and Joes wrote, "Great video. Jeff Lade, who made the roguelike Powder, said on Roguelike Radio that he wanted his game to end and leave players wanting more, rather than sink its hooks in beyond the point where it was no longer enjoyable. Nicholas Casalini, who makes Tales of Maj'Al, disagreed and wanted to make his game fun for as long as he can." It's an interesting concept to think about. Do you trust players to know when to quit, or do you decide for them? Do you go out with a bang or with a whimper? There's possibly a video idea in there somewhere. Thanks for watching this video. If you're interested in this kind of thing, let me know and maybe I'll do more of them. Thanks.